We thank you all for coming out here this evening. Tonight kicks off actually a debate series for the RGJ and for KNPB. All the candidates have been invited to participate and only 2 have declined the offer. We did have 1 show up, so at this point we have 17.
Which is a good thing for participation. All right, so now as Brent said, we're beginning the process where we're going to winnow the field to the top 10 candidates to participate in 2 televised debates on May 29th. You're part of that process. There are paper ballots that you can fill out this evening to select your top choice for who should appear on that live debate. There are ballot boxes at the door as you leave. You'll only be allowed to submit 1 ballot. These ballots, and you can submit them here, you don't have to mail them in, although that's what it says on the ballot. The ballots will also be printed in the Reno Gazette-Journal if you have friends or supporters or whomever else wants to participate. Reno Gazette-Journal, fill out the ballot, mail it in, or drop it by our office.
You know that we are going to have a series of debates in 1 month on KNPB involving 10 candidates. The way that we rank the candidates is by 3 criteria: how many social media followers they have, the total financial contributions they report on May 20th, and the ballot that Anjanette was talking about. The candidates with the highest rankings in these 3 categories, paper ballots, social media followers, campaign contributions, will move on to the May 29th televised debates on KNPB starting at 8 p.m. Now, I should also disclose that I had a financial relationship with one of the candidates early this year. I served as a subcontractor to Idora Silver when she performed contract services for the city of Reno for media training. I was the trainer.
All right, with that said, we are going to get started. A little bit about the format tonight. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves. We'll have 3 issue questions this evening, to which each candidate will be given 30 seconds to respond. Our timekeeper, Bob, if you could raise your flags, candidates. There won't be a verbal cue like there was last night. You can please keep your eye on Bob over there. If you keep speaking, then Brent and I will have to jump in. We're also featuring several lightning rounds, which they'll be able to answer yes or no, and that's it. So there's about 16 questions for that.
And Bob, just once again, show them the 10 seconds, that's the yellow one, and the red means your time is up. To break things up a little bit, we will rotate which candidates get to answer the questions first. And introductions will be made in alphabetical order, starting with Dolores Ayazi. Go ahead.
Right now. Okay, here we go. My name's Dolores Ayazi. I've lived in this town for about 50 years now. I grew up in Sparks, went to Sparks High, Sparks Junior High. My dad owned Times Square at Greenbrae Shopping Center and then at Park Lane Mall. I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren, and I've been married to my husband for this year I'll be 40 years. So we have been involved in politics for quite some time. We got started with Sky Tavern Junior Ski Program. The city of Reno was going to sell it. It was a city park, and they were going to sell it to Mount Rose. And we decided that that wasn't a good idea. So we went down to City Hall, and they agreed to let us form a nonprofit organization that is still in existence today, 20 years later. So because of that, I believe that you can make a difference in your city by participating. And that's what I plan on doing as your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Robert Avery.
Yes, first of all, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate this event. Thank you for the university for hosting this event, my alma mater. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Reno. I love this city. I went to this very university, graduated in 1995 with a degree in finance and accounting minor, so I know numbers. There are 2 things that I want everyone to know about me. Number 1 is I am not a politician, and I think that's a good thing. Number 2, I know business, and not just any business. I know high-tech business. I've been building innovative companies in Reno for the past 2 decades. I have 2 products on the national stage right now that are in use currently by thousands of users internationally. If I can tell you what motivates me, it's my 3 kids. It's your kids. It's every child that's represented in this room tonight. We need to turn this city around right now. If we don't get this one thing right, then we're going to be in trouble. We're going to pass this debt onto our kids, and it's going to be bad. We have an opportunity to actually provide economic prosperity to this city right now, as we speak. Thank you.
Marcia Burke-Bigler.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Is this on? Yes,
Yes.
it is. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Marcia Burke-Bigler. I am a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and a county commissioner. And I have decided to run for mayor because I'm concerned about where our city is headed. We're sort of at a crossroads right now where we can move in either direction. Our economy is starting to grow, but grow how? And I just wanted to bring a couple of things that concern me. Reno needs a real leader. They need somebody who has regional experience, somebody who understands this community, has experience in business and in government, and I have all of those. Look at my resume. You can find it online. It's all over the place. But look at my resume, and it will tell you that I'm the most qualified person for this position. It's not enough for Reno to just get to just celebrate the small businesses that are paying small amounts of money. It is important for us to move forward with lots of other things. Time up.
Michael Bertrand.
Good evening. I'm Michael Bertrand from Mayor. I'm a Reno, Nevada, born and raised, and I'm a constitutional conservative and might be the only candidate who can name the Bill of Rights off the top of my head. I was raised in business development by Bud Bertrand, my father, and I also have 17 years as a qualifying employee on a general contracting license with professional level design and production skills. I'm also a cattle rancher, paid up on my taxes. Thank you. I'm also a certified 911 dispatcher and an advocate of children's rights with a board position and duties of public relations and investigations. And as an advocate, I have witnessed almost 5,000 child protection service cases reopened. I believe in accountability, transparency, an open door policy to streamline service to our community. I believe in treating the office of mayor as a public service position. I have been called eccentric by people in this room.
Thank you, sir.
Because I record
Sean
all
Burke.
the time. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. It's very nice to see so many faces here. My name's Sean Burke. I'm born and raised in Reno, Nevada. I'm 38 years old. I attended local schools, Peavine, Clayton, McQueen, Truckee Meadows Community College, and UNR. I also went to St. Mary's College in the Bay Area for a short stint. I studied law and business in school. I currently run my mother's educational supply store called Parent Teacher Aids. I've run that for probably close to 20 years now. I also have a background in education and property management and real estate. I've been a coach for many years, still currently coaching. I belong to the Reno Host Lions Club. I've been a Lions member now for 9 years and have participated in many community-related projects, including volunteer director and counselor in a disadvantaged kids camp. Thank you all again for coming tonight. I saw the sign, so I'm going to cut it short. Thanks.
Chad Dene.
Good evening, folks. Chad Dene. I represent the working man. Obviously, I'm seeing a lot of businessmen up here and everything. 90% of the men and women in this town are working people that see eye to eye with me. I was in the general election versus Bob Cashell in the last election and received 21,000 votes despite being ignored completely by channels 248 and the Reno Gazette-Journal. I have no endorsements and still overcame that and had almost 40% of the vote versus Mayor Cashell. I find it funny that the Reno Gazette-Journal is going to break down the finalists by seeing how many campaign contributions they have. But granted, I got 21,000 votes in the last election and I had $0 in campaign contributions because I don't accept them. I am the kinder, gentler Dene. A lot of you may know my father. I'm a member of the Reno Elks Club, and I see the sign, so I will cut it short as well. Thank you.
Thomas Fitzgerald.
Hi, I'm Tom Fitzgerald. I'm running for mayor of Reno because, like other boomers, I enjoy working. I have a lot to give back to this city. I enjoy being effective and coordinating groups of all kinds. My total experience can benefit this city. I met payroll for 16 years on a company I started and moved here and hired 19 people on the day I moved it here. I have previously held elected local office. I am fiscally responsible. I have made tough public decisions. I have worked with many governments throughout northern Nevada and their various departments. I want to use my leadership abilities to address the bonded debt and unfunded liabilities that have the ability to potentially devastate this city. We need to make this city even more business friendly because government doesn't create jobs, businesses do. Thank you.
Eric Holland.
My name is Eric Holland. Can you hear me? Oh. I have to stand up for a minute to show you this map. This is why I'm running. This is a map of Reno, and it looks, I have something going on my Facebook page asking people to decide what it looks like, so you can let me know too, and if you get a good guess, I'll give you a lollipop. I'll be over there after this. I'm running to call attention to the fact that we still do not have consistent regional planning in the area. Like most of the other candidates, I want us to start growing again. I think the growth is coming. I agree with the county commissioner on that, and I think this time we can get it right and direct the growth that's coming closer to the urban core. And by that, I don't mean necessarily stuffing everything into the McCarran Loop, but closer. Thank you.
Eddie Lorton.
My name is Eddie Lorton. I want to be your next mayor. And to my loved one, Christy, thanks for putting up with me through all this. I appreciate it. But anyway, I'm an entrepreneur, open investor, property owner, stakeholder in this city. I fought hard for what people voted for. I'm the one that did the Supreme Court case against term limits, and we won. So now it needs to be how it is. I'm right in the middle of it, all of it here today. So I want to thank everybody for what ended up occurring here. And now underway, they already ended up doing a charter review committee to where now they're going to try to make it to where they can run forever, but that won't happen until next year's legislation. So this is the chance we're ever going to have to take back our town from the good old boys. So I hope people support me like I support them, and we do what citizens had voted for. My name's Eddie Lorton, and I want to be your next mayor. Thank you very much.
Mark Markell.
Hi, my name is Mark, and I'm a Reno resident, and I'm for the working man. I want to see economics built in this city. I'm not global or anything, but I suffer a traumatic brain injury, so please bear with me. I don't really know what to say, but I'm a concerned Reno resident, and I want to be mayor because I want to help you people. Bye. Thanks.
Ian Passelich.
Evening. Yes, can you hear? Yeah, my name is Ian Passelich, and obviously I'm not from here originally, as you can tell by my voice. Born and raised in New Zealand, a couple of degrees, engineering and business, and I was last 30 years down there. I ran some big corporations in New Zealand and Australia, but I fell in love with a local girl, Robin. I married her 21 years ago, moved to Reno, and have done international business ever since. In the last year, we created our own brand out of Reno. My wife has her own business here in Ceylon, and I absolutely love Reno. I think it's just the most amazing place for small business entrepreneurs. And the only reason I'm doing this, I've never been in politics, is I want to grow Reno, go worldwide, go nationwide, and promote this town as the place for small company entrepreneurs and grow it like that. Thank you.
Raymond Pezzanella.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? Brent, thank you very much. Anjanette, Thank you all for coming tonight. This is a wonderful event to have for all of us to get together. I want you to know, if you take a look around, I'm the only one that can fill Bob Cashell's seat. So, hey,
Far out, really.
again, my name is Ray Pezzanella, and I've been in town for over 45 years. Nancy and I have been married 46 years. I own an engineering business, geotechnical and environmental engineering. For, like I said, for 37 years. I hire between 25 and 35 people. I'm running for mayor because 3 things. I call them the 3 C's. 1, I'm concerned about what's going on in our city today. 2nd, I care because I have grandkids living in this community and kids living in this community. And 3rd, most important thing is I'm capable to do the job. Thank you very much.
Larry Pizzorno.
Good evening. Glad to see you all here. I'm a 3rd-generation Renoite, product of all local schools, a successful businessman, been writing my own paychecks for over 50 years. I belong to 55-member year to the Elks. I'm presently on the board for the Navy League, Reno High Alumni, and the Reno High Museum. I am running for mayor because of all of the problems we have. 99% of them can be solved by a successful businessman in a successful business way. Thank you.
Charles Reno.
Hi, my name is Chuck Reno. Born and raised here in Reno. I'm a 5th-generation Nevadan. And yes, I'm related to the namesake of Reno. It's a great uncle. I serve on the City of Reno Planning Commission, and I help the city out. I sit the same seats as the city council and make decisions currently for the city. You know, I've helped out a lot. I've been on the Historic Resource Commission for the city, the Neighborhood Advisory Board for the city. I went to UNR here. I got 2 degrees in engineering and general studies. I also got an architectural degree. I'm married for 15 years and got 3 children. And I'm glad my mom's here. I'm one of 11 children. I'm number 4 of 11. She's the saint, you know. Yeah, so I'm running for mayor because I want to make a difference. I want to make the city better. I see that there's a lot of things we can do with the city debt, and we'll talk about that, but I want to make it better. Thank you.
Hillary Sheevy.
1 minute, right?
That's right.
All right, that's quick. All right. Hello, I'm Hillary Sheevy. I'm a sitting city council person, and I'm excited because I have a very good record. I also own a small business that pumps $2 million back into our local economy. I also am one of the original founders of the Midtown District, and I created the Technology and Innovation Council at the city. I know we don't have a lot of time tonight, but there are 2 things I want you to know. One is I want to put Reno on the map because I believe a great mayor sets the tone and the culture of a city. I also have a great 5-point plan at hillaryforreno.com that tackles many of Reno's issues, like a blight reduction initiative that will create jobs and occupy buildings. Secondly, if I am fortunate enough to be your mayor, I promise to run this city with integrity, transparency, and economic vitality. We can do this together. Thank you.
Idora Silver.
Good evening. I'm Idora Silver, and I'm running for mayor. I'm delighted to be on the stage with all of these very successful people here. And there's all kinds of different businesses represented. In my business, I have worked with all of them. I think we can agree on one thing, and that is that the role of government and the mayor is to support the community and the businesses. It is not to be the business or to represent any one particular industry. And that's what I've done all of my years, 30 years. I was brought in to help set the strategic plan for the city council, and it is with that kind of success and experience that I am asking for your vote here tonight. Thank you.
Ken Stark.
Ken Stark. Well, I may be last name on the ballot, but I want to be your first choice for mayor. Reno is a great city, You know, I've met my wife here, I've raised my son here, I've built a successful commercial real estate business here, and I volunteer my time here. You know, I've spent the last 20 plus years, you know, telling everybody what a fantastic place it is to live and work and raise a family as I recruit businesses coming here to town. You know, I understand budgets, I understand policy, finance, and negotiations. I've done these things every day, you know, in my business, and I want to do this as mayor. You know, having never run for office, I have a new and fresh perspective and vision for the city of Reno. You know, I do have private sector experience, which basically knowing what it takes to lead this city forward and better the community. Thank you.
All right, now that you've all had a minute to talk, we're going to jump right into our first lightning round. So this is yes or no questions. You can signal a yes answer by raising your hand high. My co-moderator will read off the names and your answers for you. So first question, do you support maintaining 4-person firefighting crews? Yes or no, raise your hand if you do support maintaining 4-person crews. If you do support maintaining 4-person firefighting crews.
Okay, the candidates who do support that are Danae.
Keep your hands up.
Yes, keep your hands up. Danae, Stark, Paslich, Ayazi, Shivi, Bertrand, Lorton, Pezzanella, Reno, Holland, Burke, Silver, Pizzorno, and Markel. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. Should collective bargaining negotiations with employee groups be done in public? Yes or no? Raise your hands for yes.
We have yes votes from Markel, Pizzorno, Burke, Holland, Reno, Pezzanella, Burke-Bigler, Lorton, Bertrand, Fitzgerald, Avery, Paslich, Stark, and Danae. Question 3. Will you vote to give $1 million to the Aces ballpark developers next year? Raise your hand if you vote yes.
Everyone to it.
All right, nobody wants to give $1 million to the ballpark next year.
Oh, whoa.
All right. The Nevada Supreme Court determined the mayor is equal to the other council members. Should Reno have a strong mayor? Yes or no? A show of hands for yes.
Strong mayor, yes. Mr. Danae, Mr. Stark, Mr. Paslich, Ms. Ayazi, Ms. Shivi, Mr. Avery, Mr. Bertrand, Ms. Burke-Bigler, Mr. Pezzanella, Mr. Burke, Ms. Silver?
Yeah,
Yes?
I'm trying to figure out what strong mayor means.
Are you one of the council, or is the mayor giving?
You want somebody to run for you?
Oh. Mr. Pizzorno and Mr. Markel, strong mayor. Okay. Yeah. All right, so now we're on to the first 30-second issue round. Again, we're going to switch up who answers these first, so listen for your name. We're going to do you in groups. So the first question is, the city of Reno is preparing to lay off 35 firefighters. Do you believe this is the right course of action? If not, tell us specifically what you would do to save those jobs. Ms. Ayazi.
Specifically what I would do, I think they've already found money for some of those firefighters. Specifically, we cannot have the same services that we had in the past with the revenue that we have now. We need to find a way to either raise some funds or somehow we need to raise some taxes. We just need to do it if we want to have the same services that we had in the past.
Thank you. Mr. Avery.
Yes, I do not support the layoff of the 35 firefighters. However, we do need creative solutions to fund our public safety. Public safety is very important to me. It's very important to our community, no matter where you are, whether you're a City of Reno resident, Washoe County, or City of Sparks. We all want an identical response. As far as the 35 firefighters go, there are going to be some changes. Some money can be moved around. We need better solutions, though, so we are a more self-reliant community as Reno.
Ms. Burke-Bigler.
I don't support laying off 35 firefighters either. I do know that the city has, at this point in time, found a way to reduce that number to 15. And so there are still 15 firefighters who are being laid off. I think there's some economies of scale that we can achieve by joining in a regional fire concept with the county. For instance, in many cases, we have firefighting stations right across the street from each other. We could close one and move those firefighters to another empty station. There are some other things like that we can do.
Thank you. Mr. Bertrand.
There is a possibility for a privilege tax, 20% marijuana, medical marijuana tax would be significant. I believe it would create a cash windfall at this point. It's a moot point as who wants it and who is against it. So I believe a 20% tax would go a long way in toward getting the ball rolling on this. I also am an advocate of streamlining efficiency. And there's a lot of redundancy that can be streamlined, so we need to become more efficient. And so I'll leave that at that.
Thank you. Mr. Burke.
I definitely want to state that I am against the layoff of the 35 firefighters. I think it's very important that we focus on public safety in Reno, not just firefighters, but public safety in general. There has to be a way where we can find some money, whether we have to cut some budgets, maybe introduce a small tax. I know nobody likes to hear the word tax, but when we all are affected by public safety, we need to find a way to employ the firefighters and keep our safety in mind. And also consolidation and REMSA contracts could come into play also.
All right, our second issue question. Reno's debt load is $577 million. The redevelopment agency is carrying $30 million in debt. Should this be a concern? If so, detail specifically how you would deal with it. We'll start with Mr. Dene.
Obviously, it's a concern. I'd like to go back to the firefighters question. Obviously, we're not laying them off either. We could cancel the $4 million check that was just written for that building that we bought over there with the taxpayers' money, that the taxpayers, they're not living in there. Or we could just sell the building. That would free up tens of millions of dollars. Why that building was ever bought in the first place is a joke. Anyways, the insidious spending is what we have gotten there, how we have gotten there, and it just needs to stop.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald.
That's over $600 million that you mentioned. There are ways to look at it legally where we can start paying down that which has the highest interest on it, save the most money there. Then as we start reducing that debt, take the savings and pay the debt down faster on all the remaining debt. Everything has to be looked at as a matter in which we can cut the debt faster and not keep adding to it.
Thank you. Mr. Holland.
Of course, it's a concern, and it's going to be a long, hard slog. As I mentioned before, I would like to vigorously direct the growth that's coming back towards the urban core. Studies show that multi-layered development closer in provides more tax revenue per acre, and of course we'd apply that to pay off the most expensive debt first.
Mr. Lorton.
Hi. Well, actually, we need to look in not subsidizing the ballpark for one because of his terrible business choices and supplementing businesses like that. That'll save us $500,000 a year. Plus, we own the the ballroom over there that the city spent $65 million on that could be sold as only the El Dorado gets to use that building. Therefore, I believe we should sell and liquidate most of these properties so we can supplement and pay down our debt and then pay for firefighters. Public safety comes first. Thank you.
Mr. Markell.
Yes, I believe we should legalize medical marijuana, and that would take care of everything. All that.
Thank you. Mr. Paslich.
When the corporations I've turned around in my past and the business I've turned around, you don't look at just one aspect. You look at both the cost side and the revenue side. We've got a cost side we can work on, but there's you're talking 600 million. We need revenue, and that's why we need to grow Reno with the right people coming in, businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and coming in and filling the downtown empty buildings and growing the revenue, the tax revenue that's not increasing taxes, but bringing in more revenue, more business activity, and everything else. That's how we do it, and that's how you move any corporation forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Our third question is regarding the homeless. As you may recall, after a fairly wrenching community standoff over where to place a shelter, it was opened on Record Street in 2008. Since then, we've seen Tent City come and go. Businesses in the area continue to experience problems, and the cost to take care of the overflow from that facility is growing. How would you propose dealing with the homeless issue going forward? Mr. Pezzanella.
Oh, I'm up. Dealing with the homeless situation is, I know downtown has had some problems with respect to some of the homeless people down there. As a result, we need to take care of things. If you go to Pier 39 in San Francisco, you'll look at the area where the tourists are. They have the same homeless situations down there, but one thing it's never said is holy cow, solution to pollution is dilution. What you need to do is bring more tourists in downtown and work with that. There are several other things you got to do, is break it down into three sections. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks. 30 seconds goes quickly. Mr. Pizzarno. 30 seconds is ridiculous. Mr. Pizzarno, what would you do with the homeless situation?
The homeless here is a real problem. I walk the river every day with my dog, and with my badge on, a lot of people stop me. I have had in this last few weeks many, many people who are here as tourists, see the river, and they take a walk, and they see the homeless in town, a homeless along the river, and 100% of them say they ain't coming back because of that. I don't know how to solve the problem, but if I'm elected mayor, I will get the problem solved. I will get the proper
Thank you.
people to do it.
Mr. Reno.
We got to remember the homeless, they're people too, and they have rights, and we got to respect them. You know, the homeless people, you got to feel for them, and we got to help them out. We built a homeless shelter. I think that it would have been better if we built many shelters throughout the downtown area. Don't centralize it into solution by dilution. Kind of break it up, and that would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sheevy.
Thank you. At the City of Reno, we just implemented a task force for the homeless because obviously it's a huge problem. And like Mr. Reno said, these people need dire straits of services. And one of the things the city did whenever I just entered council was that they cut the community triage center. And I think that this needs to be incredibly transparent because these people need these services. So we are absolutely working on this issue, and it's something that I'm very passionate about because it truly is a problem.
Thank you. Ms. Silver.
A community is to be judged in part by how it takes care of those who can't take care of themselves. And I think that our city needs to help the homeless and the others who can't. Where it is has been a question, and I think we need to look at that. But the fact remains there are homeless everywhere. They have needs, and we need to be able to take care of them. I'm appreciative of the people who are already working on it, and as mayor, I would make sure that more come together to talk about the issue and come up with viable options.
Thank you. Mr. Stark.
I have empathy for the businesses that are located where the homeless shelter is, you know. But relocating the homeless shelter isn't the answer. We do need to do it, you know, have a task force. We do need to understand what those issues are. You know, our tourists, they don't. If you stand by that bus station and watch, you know, in which I've sat there observing, you know, it is an issue and it needs to be addressed. But just relocating them throughout another part of the city is not the answer.
All right, it is time for our second lightning round of questions. So, remember, everybody is going to raise their hands to vote yes. Should the city pay for retirement health benefits for new employees? Raise your hand if you believe the city should pay entire retirement benefits for new employees.
Retirement health benefits for new employees. Anybody? We have Mr. Dene, Mr. Reno, Mr. Markel, Mr. Stark.
Should the city allow medical marijuana dispensaries?
Mr. Dene, Mr. Stark, Mr. Paslich, Ms. Ayazi, Ms. Sheevy, Mr. Avery, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Bertrand, Mr. Lorton, Ms. Burke-Bigler, Mr. Reno, Mr. Holland, Mr. Burke, Mr. Pizzarno, and Mr. Markel. Okay. Do you support legalizing recreational marijuana?
That's going to be
Mr.
Mr.
Dene.
Dene,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Stark. We have Paslich, Fitzgerald, Holland, Burke, Pizzorno, and Markel.
Should the state legalize same-sex marriage?
We have Silver, Burke, Holland, a late Pizzorno, Fitzgerald, Sheevy, Ayazi, Paslich, Stark, and Dene. All right, we're going to our second issue question, so we're going back to the 30-second format. The city of Reno is preparing to lay off, oh, wait a minute, we've done this before.
No, that's the correct question. We have new people answering.
Sorry about that.
No, Brent, that's the right question. We have new people to answer them.
Oh, you're right, thank you. The city of Reno is preparing to lay off 35 firefighters. Do you believe this is the right course of action? If not, tell us specifically what you would do to avoid it. We're going to start this time with Mr. Dene.
Well, I didn't know this question was going to come back around, so I kind of touched it a little bit last time about that City Hall building down there. I also heard a really, really good suggestion along the lines of the medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana. We've seen what it's done for Colorado. It's really helped out the taxing of that and everything, so it's really something we need to look into. There's no question about it.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
I have to apologize. I did not hear the question.
All right, the city of Reno is preparing to lay off 35 firefighters. Do you believe this is the right course of action? If not, tell us specifically what you would do to avoid it.
It's the right course of action if you don't have the funds to pay these hardworking people who protect us. It's the wrong course of action if we rely on sources of funding that we cannot maintain ourselves. We have to sit down, we have to work with the firefighters and other people who protect us, find out what the total expenses are, and find ways that we are going to pay for it to keep our city safe.
Mr. Holland.
It's not the right course of action. If I was mayor right now, I'd find the money to keep it funded. Perhaps we could do that recreational marijuana and open up some bed and bong fests here in town.
Mr. Markel.
Yes, legalizing medical marijuana is the answer.
Would you lay off the 35
No,
firefighters?
I wouldn't lay off. I'd just legalize medical marijuana and taxes on any marijuana would work.
Thank you.
That's the answer.
Okay. Mr. Lorton.
Well, this is where creative business minds come into place. I think we really need to look at the REMSA contracts. They're the only ones that don't pay a franchise fee, and they made a 2011 tax return. They made $32 million, and they're supposedly a nonprofit organization. We could get grants, put ambulances in the fire stations, and so far they ended up, we respond, 95% of the calls are for medical anyway, so we may as well compete with them and make money and have a creative solution to gain money for our city and our revenue streams so we can keep firefighters and keep our town going. Thank you.
And Mr. Paslich.
Yeah, I have a problem in laying off 35 of the youngest and fittest firefighters that are going would have been going on for years working in the department, and also at the lower costs. I think you need to really get down, have full discussions with everybody about how you can somehow work out something, whether it's some early retirements and whatever, to make it work and make it work within the system and be as efficient as it can. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're back to the debt question. Again, the city has $577 million in debt. $30 million of that belongs to the redevelopment agency. Should this be a concern? If so, detail specifically how you would deal with it. Mr. Pezzanella. Are you concerned about Reno's debt load? If so, what would you do to address it?
Okay, thank you very much, Antoinette. I'm very concerned about debt, and every one of you are concerned about debt. That's not helping our city. That's not moving us forward. It's not doing what we need to do. How we deal with those kinds of things is we take a look at what you would do in your households. As you would understand, you would take a look at what revenues and what expenditures you have, and you wouldn't spend any more than what you have. And as a result, you would work your way through it. And like I've always said, you take a look at eating an elephant one bite at a time. They didn't go into debt overnight, and it's going to take a little time to get out, and you got to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pizzorno.
The debt is a very, very big problem. How I would do it, I would, on the fire department, is get the firefighters together and let them work out the problem, then come to us and say, we can save 10 jobs or 12 jobs or 15 jobs, and then go from there. If we have to lay off 5 or 10, we'll have to do it. But when it gets that low, we should look for money to keep them all. But we have to know how much to do it.
Mr. Reno.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are paying about 20 million in interest. You and I, we're all paying that. We have got to get down our debt. Look, the city is sitting on 1.8 billion in assets. There are a lot of vacant parcels the city owns, especially along the retrack. Sell them. Give first right of refusal to the neighbors and sell the rest of them. If we don't have a strategic plan for them, sell them and pay down our debt. Thank you.
Ms. Sheevey.
First of all, I was not on the council whenever a lot of these decisions were made. However, I would like to say that a lot of people talk about raising taxes. We can't do that. We're actually at a cap. So that's not an option. The other thing is the only thing that we have left to do is to negotiate with these banks. However, I'm an innovator. And what I've done at the city whenever I first arrived is I made sure that we had a renter on the 16th floor and brought in $250,000. We have to be innovative, and we've got to switch our mind thought to making money instead of spending it.
Ms. Silver. Ms. Silver.
For the present case, we have to cut expenses where appropriate, but not on the backs of the working people and certainly not the public service people. That's for sure. What we have to do is grow business. We have to grow the economy. We have to build the businesses that are here first. We have funds available through the government to help grow our businesses here, make this town attractive for other businesses, and then moving forward, we need to make sure that we make decisions that are appropriate and that look out for the short term and the long term.
Thank you. Mr. Stark.
First of all, our city manager, Andrew Klinger, is doing a great job. He's really improving our debt status from where we were. And our first priority is we need to make sure that the city's credit rating stays positive. The last thing we want to see is that burden fall on the general fund. As I lead my business, there's a life cycle of business. You have growth, maturity, and decline. Obviously, in 2008, we had a decline. We're in a growth cycle, and we need to continue building the pie of tax revenue, not taxes.
All right, we're returning to our homeless question. Since the city opened its shelter on Record Street, we've had the tent city. It's come and gone. Businesses in the area continue to have problems. The cost to take care of the overflow has grown. How do you propose to deal with taking this issue going forward? We'll start with Ms. Ayazi.
I agree. They're homeless people, and I think we need to take care of them. I've been down 4th Street, and what I see is a lot of businesses thriving and doing well. I mean, there's the Morris Berner Hotel, there's artists, there's Louis Bass Corner is totally revitalized. It's a beautiful place right now. I think we need to take care of these citizens in our community and make sure that they have a place also. I think we need to remember that they're people. And I think 4th Street is going to be great.
Mr. Avery.
Yes, I want to just second the motion that pretty much, here's the thing, homeless people are definitely citizens. They have rights, they're citizens, we need to take care of them. The solutions that we have to all these problems, though, are bigger than just the homeless. It's bigger than the marijuana dispensary. It's bigger than everything. What we need to do in order to solve the homeless problem, as is everything else, is we need investments into our downtown core. We need to extend the university reach. We need to be thinking bigger than all of the little issues, because once you put all those little issues together and you think bigger, you solve a lot of those issues through success. And
Thank you,
that's
Mr. Avery. Ms. Burke-Bigler.
Thank you. The homeless are with us. I think we've established that tonight, and they are people also. They have rights. City has a lot of financial problems that they need to deal with. Homeless just happens to be one of them. But there certainly needs to be a way to appropriate funds. I think some of the ideas that are being brought up tonight are actually good ideas. Some of them aren't legal, because we've got to go to the state legislature to get things approved if they aren't already in our charter. So I think we need to look at some of those things and maybe take them to the legislature, and that's why we need a strong leader.
Mr. Bertrand.
In dispatch, I learned about a homeless evaluation liaison program. Stands for HELP. And I believe that this program needs to be internally looked into, and if this can be expanded upon, it should be. I believe the homeless don't need to be pestering our bread and butter, the tourists that come into our community. These people are citizens, some of them are families, and we have excess property, we have the medical marijuana tax, and beyond that, I think it gets Republican as far as cut spending and reducing taxes, and the system should clarify itself.
And Mr. Burke.
First, I'd like to state that I agree that the homeless have rights and we need to treat them very fairly. The first thing that we need to do is establish and create agencies and organizations that can assist these people, get them closed for interviews, educate them, get them assistance for their families, food, shelter, jobs. A lot of these people I've worked with in the past, and they're willing to work. They want to be a productive part of society. They're just down on their luck. So let's find ways to help them. Maybe get some organizations or charity groups involved and really put effort into helping these people.
Thank you. We are on to our third lightning round. Yes or no question. Raise your hand if yes. Will you continue to work full-time in your existing job if you're elected mayor?
I don't have one.
That's a qualified yes from Mr. Merkel. Who else? Eric, were you voting for that? Mr. Holland and Mr. Dene.
Thank you. Yes or no? Raise your hand if yes. Should Reno spend tax dollars on a new indoor swimming pool facility?
We have Mr. Holland, Mr. Reno, Idora Silver, Ms. Sheevy, and Ms. Ayazi. Our next lightning round question, do you support the Southeast Connector?
Yes, we have Mr. Stark, Mr. Avery, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Bertrand, Mr. Pezzanella, Mr. Reno, Mr. Pizzarno, Mr. Merkel. Did I see somebody else? Okay.
Is Burning Man good for Reno?
I think that's pretty unanimous. Mr. Dene, Mr. Stark, Mr. Paslich, Ms. Ayazi, Ms. Sheevy, Mr. Avery, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Bertrand, Mr. Lorton, Mr. Burke-Bigler, Mr. Pezzanella, Mr. Holland, Mr. Burke, Ms. Silver, Mr. Pizzarno.
Before or after?
Before. All right, we're on to the third round of issue questions. Again, the same question, new people answering this question. Reno, again, is preparing to lay off 35 firefighters. Is this the right course of action? If not, tell us specifically what you would do to save those jobs. Mr. Pezzanella. Firefighters being laid off.
We're saving jobs for firefighters, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Do you believe it's the right course of action to lay off the firefighters? If not, what would you do to save the jobs?
No, I think laying off people isn't a very good situation at all. I mean, families are affected. I mean, they care. They're part of our community. We care about those individuals. However, you got to look at things from a business standpoint. If you can't pay them, you have no choice but to let them go. And hopefully you can work on putting together some programs to bring them back. I know the city right now, with Andrew Klinger and Robert Chisel, they're working very diligently to keep as many of those people as they can, and I hope they put that together over the next several months before July 1st so they can keep them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Pizzorno.
The fire department is our #1 problem. That has to be solved. As I said, we will get the firemen together to find out what they need, how they can keep as many men as possible. And when we do that, then we can go look for funds to keep the rest or see how many we have to lay off.
Thank you. Mr. Reno.
I would say the fire department is our biggest priority. You know, we need to fund the fire department. We need to have those 35 firefighters. We need to find the funds for them. There are ways to find funds. We have, like I said, lots of assets in the city that we can unload. We need to get rid of those that aren't doing us any good. They're liabilities, really. And we should be doing the core things that the city should do. Fire protection, police protection, infrastructure, and parks and rec. That's it, guys. That's all we should do. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Sheevy.
First of all, I do not support these layoffs. And second of all, I think that we clearly need to understand that we need to quit subsidizing billionaires, and they need to pay their property tax. Right there, this issue should be a non-issue, because that's where I have the advantage at the city. I know where we can absolutely produce the money to save these firefighters' lives. And one is REMSA and a one-time fee from RTC, and stop subsidizing billionaires.
Thank you. Ms. Silver.
I have a question. How did we get into this predicament? Why wasn't there a plan in the first place? We knew that those safer grants weren't for sure. How come we don't have a plan moving forward? As a strategic planning specialist, I would make sure any of these situations would have a plan. We all agree that fire is a priority. How did we end up like this? I think that we bring people together and we find a way to keep those firemen. And moving forward, when we see things that are that dangerous coming our way, we need to have plans. We hope for the best and plan for the worst.
Mr. Stark.
Well, we currently have a safe city. You know, as a business owner, I have to run my company on a budget. And you've got to figure out a way. In 2008, in commercial real estate, I didn't lay anybody off, but I figured out a way to come up, you know, the way of keeping everybody employed. Andrew Klinger, if he can find a way to do it, you know, I don't agree we should, but if we don't have the money, we have no choice.
Our next question comes back to the debt load. Between Reno's debt load and the redevelopment agency, more than $600 million. Should this be a concern, and if so, specifically, how would you deal with it? Ms. Ayazi.
Yes, I think, of course, it's a concern. We all have debt, and we have to figure out how to pay for it. I think there were decisions made in the past that were good decisions, and nobody knew this economic downturn was going to come. So I believe we need to save where we can and just keep moving forward. Our city's doing really, it's coming out of this, and I think we're going to do really well. I don't think we should make any knee-jerk reactions. I think we should see where we're going, start saving, and move forward.
Mr. Avery.
Yes, first of all, not nobody saw this economic crisis come in. There were indicators, there were people that did know what's going on. I'm not saying I was one of them. But the fact of the matter is the $210 million OPEB liability needs to be restructured, and the cleaner's got a great plan for this already to restructure existing compensation for current new hires. In addition to that, we need to restructure the way, we need to bridge the gap between the time that the city employees retire and the time that Medicare kicks in. These two tiers involved will actually save a tremendous amount of money and bring solvency to that system.
Ms. Burke-Bigler.
It's unclear to me why the city got into this problem that they're in the first place, since the county is not in this problem. The county is financially stable because they made the tough decisions starting back at the beginning of the period when we were starting to have an economic downturn. Even before then, the county made those decisions. It's unclear to me why the city council hasn't made some of those decisions and made those changes. But regardless, the time is now to grow business, because when you grow business, you grow jobs and you grow tax dollars, and that's what local governments are based on. That's where they get their income.
Mr. Bertrand.
We need common sense guidelines to responsible economics, staying within the confines of our fiscal realities. No more creative financing that cause places like Detroit and other bankrupt cities of California that are becoming commonplace. Cut spending, lower taxes, diversify, sell excessive properties, medical marijuana tax. There's a million ways to do this, including looking into the massive amount of gold that is leaving our state and heading right into Canada.
And Mr. Burke.
I think that the city's debt it's a huge issue, and it's probably our biggest long-term priority. A lot of this debt is going to fall on us as taxpayers in the community. The first thing I would look at is liquidating any assets. If the city owns assets that are not a part of the immediate plan or near future of our growth, let's get rid of them, pay off some of that debt. Another thing I like is we need to bring in more business. Business will stimulate the economy, bring in more money. I think that's the priority right now, is just getting rid of the debt.
Thank you. Back to the issue of the homeless. Mr. Dene, what would you do to address the issue of homelessness going forward?
4 years ago, when I ran for mayor against Bob Cashel in the general election, this would have been brought up, but once again, like I said, the media didn't speak with me. Many empty buildings in this community. Mr. Stark here, he does commercial real estate. He could look into it and see what kind of deal we could get on one of these buildings, have these people put in the building, create some training for them, don't allow them to stay in the building unless they take part in the training, and then they learn a trade and become a productive part of our society.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Okay, my question is, what would you do about the homeless? I hear a lot of people complaining about it, but these are human beings. They have rights. And within the city, we have to respect those rights. I was in Midtown today and watched the homeless person who came into our restaurant get arrested. He'll be out of jail tomorrow. He should be with a nonprofit organization that can help him. We need to have stronger ties to more nonprofit organizations to solve the problem and not just talk about it.
Thank you. Mr. Holland?
I remember first hearing the term homeless in the 1980s when they were released from mental institutions, or many of them were, and those that need to be hospitalized should be rehospitalized. The other ones, I'd like to empower them to get work, for them to be able to get to jobs, and so that they could take care of themselves. And I'd consider renovating some of the old abandoned properties and creating not homeless shelters, but homeless housing.
Thank you. Mr. Lorton?
Does my time start now? Okay, I ended up, I believe in helping homeless people, but not at the expense of our town, okay? I would like to help them very much, but I've looked deeply into this issue, and I'll let you know that most of the time in other cities, the homeless is a county problem. And we ended up, for some reason, adopted it in Reno, and now we got 24 million in the homeless shelter. So I think it needs to be spread out a little bit more. The county should kick in more, because that's usually a social service issue, belongs to the county. So we need to work together with the county and do what other places do, so we can find resolutions and have an overflow shelter. My time's up.
Thank you, Mr.
you.
Lorton. Mr. Markell.
Yes, I believe we should legalize, I sound like a broken record, but we should legalize medical marijuana and build an amusement park.
Thank you. Mr. Paslich.
Yeah, look, you can you can call them citizens, but the bottom line is they're human beings and they're residents of Reno, and it's a terrible situation. I think it requires a focus, and what a lot of people here have said is, you know, getting them to be taken care of in various different ways, retraining, having them taken in by families, having them in a better shelter and different shelters, and not being all together in one area where they just expect to be like that for the rest of their life. It's a focus issue.
All right, we're ready for our fourth lightning round. Has Bob Cashell been a good mayor? Hands up for yes votes.
Mr. Stark, Mr. Paslich, Ms. Ayazi, Ms. Sheevy, Mr. Avery, Mr. Fitzgerald, Ms. Burke-Bigler, Mr. Pezzanella, Mr. Reno, Mr. Burke, Ms. Silver, Mr. Markell.
Would you keep Andrew Klinger as city manager?
Would you retain Andrew Klinger as the city manager? Would you retain Andrew Klinger? Yes, Mr. Stark, Mr. Paslich, Ms. Ayazi, Ms. Sheevy, Mr. Avery, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Bertrand, Ms. Burke-Bigler, Mr. Pezzanella, Mr. Reno, Mr. Holland, Mr. Burke, Ms. Silver, Mr. Pizzorno, and Mr. Markell. Okay, yes or no? The City Council has declared a critical shortage for the position of police chief. This allows Chief Pitts to earn a $155,000 a year salary as well as collect his retirement benefits. Would you allow this to continue? Ms. Ayazi, I'm sorry.
We have Reno, Pezzanella, Burke-Bigler, Avery, Sheevy, and Ayazi.
Do you support ward voting for the Reno City Council?
I didn't hear that question.
Do you support ward voting for the Reno City Council?
Markell, Pizzorno, Silver, Burke, Holland, Reno, Pezzanella, Burke-Bigler, Bertrand, Fitzgerald, Avery, Sheevy, Ayazi, Paslich, Stark, and Dene. That's the end of the questions this evening. You've actually made it all the way through this. But each candidate now has 1 minute to give a closing statement, and we're going to start once again alphabetically with Dolores Ayazi.
Yeah, I thought I'd do number 4. Come on. I have a deep understanding of what it takes to be a mayor. I've been in the city most of my life, and I've worked closely with my husband on many of the tough decisions that were made. I've listened, I've learned. I understand it takes a leader, a mediator, a consensus builder, and someone who's going to give everyone a voice at the table when decisions are made. I believe I have those qualities, and I'd like to be the next mayor of Reno. Thank you.
Robert Avery.
Yes, so I'm running for mayor because I think it's time for new people, fresh ideas, and a clear vision. I want to let everyone know right now in this room that there's a new technology revolution coming. A lot of people don't know about it, but just look at the wearables, look at the consumables, look at the stealth technology that's going on. The Internet of Things globally is going to increase by $4 trillion with a T over the next 6 years by 2020. We are 4 hours away from Silicon Valley. I have a proven and demonstrated history of bringing high tech to the industry. I know how to make this happen. I know how to do all these things we're talking about. What are we talking about? Firefighters, homeless, 600 million, medical marijuana. There's no silver bullet. But you know what we need to do? We need to take advantage and capitalize on the investments that this town has made over the past decade. And we need to do it in such a way where we stand above the fray. We need above the fray. We need a visionary. We need a leader that's going to come to play and actually get the job done. Please visit averyforreno.com to see my plans on economic, fiscal, and community development in detail. Thank you.
Marcia Burke-Bigler.
I have a background in business, big business. I worked for Charter Corporation for many years as their Western States Vice President of External Affairs. I have lots of experience with the state legislature. I am the reason we have non-smoking laws in the state of Nevada back in the day, as they say. I was the reason I went to the legislature on behalf of non-smokers for Nevada, and so that we could stop smoking in schools, stop smoking on school buses. Believe it or not, folks, that used to happen in the state of Nevada. I have the background that we need to do the different things that we need to do here in Reno. I've created jobs, I've owned my own businesses, I've created my own businesses, and I've run big businesses and big budgets. I've run big meetings and worked with lots of people throughout this country. I have the ability to be your mayor, and I hope that you will consider me as mayor for the city of Reno. Marcia for mayor. Thank you.
Michael Bertrand.
Diversify and streamline. Efficiency. I'll match Eddie Lorton's offer. I will donate 1 year's wages from this office to be donated to child advocacy challenges facing our community. In the last 5 years, I've vigorously pursued the position of holding those accountable of the due diligence required to the health and well-being of our families, community effectively. This is in line with the current need of our community to become involved in this, our political family concerns, of due diligence toward the long-term health and safety of our community, our family, through grassroots accountability, transparency, and understanding that the mayor is a public servant, and an open-door policy to streamline service and accountability. Thank you, Michael Bertrand for mayor.
Sean Burke.
As somebody who has no political experience, no financial backing, no agenda, if elected mayor, there's one thing I have to do. I have to listen to the people of the community. I have to learn what they want, what they need, what they want us to do. I would be learning as I go. I know that sounds bad, but I know that there's a lot of people who think that we need some change. I have a good business background. I have an education background. I'm here to learn. I'm here to be a part of this with all of you. So keep that in mind if you're looking for some change in the Reno area. Maybe think about somebody who's young and has the time and effort to put into changing the city over the course of the next many years.
Chad Dene.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So, Chad Dene, I know what votes are coming my way. I'm very confident in this whole thing. When I become mayor, we're going to weigh the issues, who wins, who loses, and most importantly, what do the people think? And then we're going to sound and honor the will of the people. I'm looking at this lineup right here, and I've heard some really good things, and I've heard some great ideas, but I don't think any one person sitting up here has the answers to all of our problems. And when I become the mayor, I'm going to be the ears of this community, and I'm going to have an open door policy for all of these concerned people right here who also want to become your mayor. And I feel very confident that I'm going to come through this thing with a victory. Thank you.
Thomas Fitzgerald.
Tom Fitzgerald. I'm running for mayor because, as you've heard tonight, running a city is extremely complex. There is no one answer. I do not have the answers. We have some of the answers, and the city together has all of the answers. We need a leader who's innovative. We need somebody who will go out and lead, work with the city council, work with the city manager, and will go around the community hearing input and trying new things. This is the middle of the second decade of the 21st century. What worked in the past is in the past, and now we're in the future. We have a huge future in front of us, as you've heard from some of the other candidates. We have a way to get to that future. That way is Tom Fitzgerald on June 10th for Reno mayor. Thank you.
Eric Holland.
My name is Eric Holland, and I'm a working artist on your ballot for mayor. And it's a tough time to be running for mayor of this city. We've been besieged with questions about crises that are going to be very tough to solve and ask for exact answers. I do have some specific ideas to begin to crawl out of the hole. If you look at your power bill, you'll see numbers for alternative energy. I would work with the power company to leverage that money to give people in the construction industry jobs to start installing solar panels on roofs. So I think Reno could be an alternative energy capital of the planet. That's one plank that I'm strong on. You know about the urban core stuff. If we develop downtown and closer in, we get more bang for our buck, and that's becoming sexy. And the other thing, and it touched on the homeless thing, is that sometimes you'll have a job in Fernley, and a person that can't afford to get to Fernley because they don't have a car, let's get public transportation all over. Thank you.
Eddie Lorton.
My name's Eddie Lorton. I want to be your next mayor. And I've had from small to large business, okay? I have a strong business background. You've seen what I've done for you in the last 6 months. Found $2.5 million in misspending through the ADP project, which is a terrible thing, and after 18 months it's still not working right. It's a payroll system. Found they didn't get a performance bond when it came to the parking kiosks, and it cost the city another $460,000. I know my business, I know what properties are, I know how to make money, I know how to spend money. I've already been fighting for you. We found all that, plus went to the Supreme Court and won, and this all came out of my own pocket, so I'll be fighting for you all the way, so I hope to get your vote on June 10th. Thank you very much.
Mark Markell.
Hi, I just want to say that I hope I'm here. I'm listening to you people, and I know I don't smoke pot, and I don't drink beer, and I don't smoke cigarettes. So you have a clean-minded mayor, and an amusement park would be the answer to. The blue-collar worker could help build it, and the homeless can rent it, and we should legalize medical marijuana, of course.
Ian Pasilic.
Reno is an unbelievable city. I'm totally in love with it. It is a remarkable city. It's 3.5 to 4 hours from Silicon Valley, but it's 1/10 to 1/12 the cost of running a business over there. It's an hour flight, direct flight to most major cities in the Western United States. We are a perfect city for growth and small entrepreneurial businesses where people have flexible time. Mate, game of tennis. Mate, powder in the trees. Mate, how about a game of golf? How about some fishing? Perfect place. Promote it. I'd promote it. I'd bring people here, fill the downtown area, and that makes it safer. You don't have 3 brilliant restaurants and turn the corner and go, ugh. You actually love the whole place and make it move right through to Midtown and have one great downtown area full of small businesses. Thank you.
Raymond Pezzanella.
Brent, thank you very much. Antoinette, thank you very much. Thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. It's wonderful we have this opportunity. I know we have a great city. I know we're proud of our great city. I know we want to keep this city going in the direction it's going. We want to make sure, though, we take care of some of the problems we have. It's called cleaning your house. It's no different than what you do each and every day. And so what we need to do is we need to clean up the city. We need some great leadership. And you know what? I'm not going to sit and say that the leadership hasn't been great in the past. I'm just saying at this point in time, for us to continue to go ahead and be the greatest city in this nation, we're going to need people to help one another and great leaders. That's what I'm going to bring to the table for you. I know that you guys care because you came out here tonight, showed that you cared, showed that you wanted to hear what the candidates had to say and what they were all about. And I thank you for doing that. I want you to know that I can't do it without your help. So I'm looking for your vote on June 10th. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Larry Pizzorno.
I am running for mayor because Reno has many, many problems that need to be solved. The only way they're going to really be solved is have a strong, successful business person running the city as mayor. It needs somebody who has a lot of time. I am retired. I have 28 hours a day to put into it. It needs somebody who's used to attracting businesses from out of town and tourists to come to Reno to help pay for it. And you will find I'm a man of few words. I speak people, not politician.
Charles Reno.
Mr. Reno's fine. Yeah, so I want to be the next mayor of Reno. I've helped out in the community for many, many years. In fact, I have the most city experience, even with the councilman on the table here, the most city experience helping out. I'm an engineer. I'm a thinker. I solve big problems. I run multi-million-dollar projects and budgets. I understand how to get things done. And I want to bring that to the city council. And, you know, I was the only one that thought that the mayor shouldn't be a strong mayor. I think that the city council should be a council. It should be a council. It should be a people where we get together and we make decisions together. And so that's why I want to be the mayor. I know all the city council members. I can work with them. I can work with the city staff. They're all great. We need to make this a great city. Thank you.
Hillary Sheevy.
Okay, let's try it again. All right. Are you guys excited? Come. That's not good enough. Come on. You want to know why you should be excited? Because Reno is limitless. And let me tell you something. Because I was one of the founders of the Midtown District, we started that project from absolutely nothing. And we built it up today. Do you love Midtown? Yeah, absolutely you do. Yeah! And this is the kind of energy that's happening now. Reno is at a tipping point. So I hope everyone takes notice. I am so incredibly excited because I truly believe that I want to put Reno on the map so people will talk about us. Not to mention, I truly do believe that a great mayor sets the tone and the culture of a city. And I'm so proud to be a Renoite. Thank you so much.
Idora Silver.
I started off tonight giving you my professional qualifications for the position of mayor, and now I want to talk to you personally about why you can trust me to do a great job for this city. I came from a working class family. My mother dealt blackjack and my father sold car parts. I was the first in my family to go to college, and I earned both a bachelor's and a master's degree from UNR while often working 2 and 3 jobs. I was a single mother to my son John, and now I'm the daughter of a 93-year-old World War II veteran who lives by himself but does need help. All of that while running a small business. I take that understanding with me into every discussion and every decision, and as mayor, I will expand the questions, not to yes and no's, because there are many variables in there, and I think it's way too difficult to say yes and no like from a pop quiz when we need to talk about things. I will bring that understanding with me, and I am Idora Silver, running for mayor, asking for your vote tonight.
Ken Stark.
Well, there's no doubt that everybody here would like to be mayor. You know, the real question is, who is qualified to lead this city forward? You know, I've got negotiating skills, business skills. You know, I understand budgets. I understand policy. I've sat across the table, you know, with executives of large corporations as well as new business entrepreneurs to get their businesses started. I've sat in the car. I've driven with them. I understand what the issues are, you know, for growing jobs here in town. And that's what we need, you know, to take this, you know, city to the next level and improve, is more jobs and not adding more taxes, but adding bigger to the tax base. So if we bring in more jobs, that builds confidence. That sells houses. That brings more rings to the cash register, and that solves our financial problems. Thank you.
And that brings us to the conclusion of this evening. Once again, thank you, candidates, for participating. Thank you, voters, for participating.
And be sure to watch the debates on KNPB May 29th, starting at 8 p.m. Also, we have live streamed tonight, and we should have video in the coming days and coming weeks on rgj.com and knpb.org. Thank you again.
Don't forget to submit your ballots at the door.